It's the year 1996. Dwayne Johnson, following in the footsteps of his father and grandfather, steps into the ring for the first time. But this is a debut like no other. Normally, wrestlers start their careers at smaller events, but not Dwayne. He's starting at one of the biggest events of the year. It's a blockbuster, and thousands of fans have paid to see the big boys fight in the world's most famous arena, Madison Square Garden. The Rock's image matches his underdog status. His colorful outfit, baby face, and curly hair earned him a lot of sympathy from the fans, and when he won his fight on his debut, all 22,000 spectators chanted his name. After his initial successes, there was nothing to suggest that viewers would soon literally wish him dead. The boring character he took on by choosing the nickname Rocky and the all-too-obvious favoritism of the Federation soon no longer appealed to the fans. The audience began to boo at the sight of him and shout, "Die, Rocky, die, or Rocky sucks." However, Johnson was not discouraged by this. He changed his role and began to successfully restore his popularity. After his great success in wrestling, he began a career in Hollywood. Today, he earns millions from his appearances in films and his unique image, which includes his height of 193 centimeters and his dry weight of 120 kilograms, attracts millions of fans to their screens. He put the cherry on top of his success by launching his own tequila brand, which sold 600,000 bottles in its first year. In 2020, he was the most valuable Instagram star and could even charge $1 million per post. Today, The Rock is the fourth richest actor in the world, with an estimated fortune of $800 million, almost twice as much as Schwarzenegger. In recent years, The Rock has managed to create an almost perfect image of himself, a big guy who is known all over the world. At the same time, he has a gentle disposition and a charismatic, funny personality. A loving husband and father, a good and responsible businessman. It seemed like everyone just loved The Rock. This was also demonstrated by the fact that in a poll from the year 2021, 46% of people could imagine him as President of the United States. Needless to say, several political parties have approached him and offered him the chance to run for president, but so far Johnson has not been convinced to do so. However, I wouldn't have made this material if the story hadn't closed the circle and The Rock's sugar-sweet persona hadn't slowly fallen apart. Not in a fight in the WWE this time, but in real life. There was a lot of criticism of Dwayne in the fitness community. He was labeled a fake natural for a long time. That's hardly surprising for someone who looks like that and has a lean mass percentage of well over 27. Admittedly, he has built up this musculature on a very solid genetic foundation. You only have to look at a photo of him when he was 15. Such broad shoulders and so many muscles at such a young age are a real rarity. He inherited it all from his father, who also looked like a bodybuilder. And his grandfather? He weighed 125 kilograms at a height of 175 centimeters. Dwayne has only officially addressed the issue of doping once, stating that he took steroids in high school when he was 18 years old. As he added, he and some of his mates had no idea what they were doing at the time, so he clearly indicated that it was a one-time incident. And although he didn't explicitly say he no longer takes anything these days, that was the conclusion viewers must have taken from this interview. He made a similar statement in an article for the Fortune magazine. He said that apart from this experiment, he leads a steroid-free life. He also added a few sentences for people who doubt this, saying, "Certainly there are a lot of people who are suspicious and talking nonsense. They want to downplay the hard work that has been done." It's a similar story when The Rock talks about how he manages to stay in shape, even better than in his 30s, even though he's already over 50. Like a mantra, Dwayne repeats phrases about training hard and eating well, organizing your day properly, setting a goal, and staying motivated. This was clearly stated by Joe Rogan shortly after Liver King's private messages were leaked, revealing that he was fooling the world about his naturalness. He declared that Dwayne Johnson should be next, as there is no way he could have achieved such a physique naturally. The Rock, however, like many other Hollywood actors, has a different solution to the secret of his enormous muscle mass. In a video, he revealed what he ate at the peak of his WWE career and which products enable him to get in shape for films. Firstly, he ate pounds of food, which he put at 6,000 to 8,000 calories a day, which he split into 5 or even 7 meals a day. The Rock also loves to show off his legendary cheat days, days when he doesn't have to watch what he eats and eats whatever he feels like. Dwayne believes in working hard during the week, so he deserves a bit of rest at the weekend. He loves burgers, preferably with cheese, bacon, avocado, and fries, and ends his day with a cake. What is missing in this story? The fact that it appears manipulated. 8,000 calories are eaten by some 130 kilograms bodybuilders, but only for a short period of time as they build mass. Johnson, on the other hand, keeps his body fat percentage very low almost all the time, especially when preparing for a film. In comparison, Dorian Yates, even in the off-season when he had more body fat than The Rock and weighed over 130 kilograms, ate at most about 6,000 kilocalories. To lose fat and prepare for a competition, he ate less than 4,000. As an actor, however, The Rock could not give a number that would be even close to achieve for a normal mortal. The buffalo and tons of salmon he eats every day probably have a similar function. But it's not just about that. The fitness community doesn't like Johnson for his training approach either. The Rock wants people to think he has so much mass because he trains at 2 in the morning, because the sweat is dripping off his head and you can see on his face that he's throwing himself wholeheartedly into the final reps of a set. But when he showed off his leg workout, it didn't look like what you'd expect from such a big bodybuilder. He did 5 leg exercises in a row with little weight and without even coming close to muscle collapse. It was undoubtedly a very intense workout for him and also a good cardio exercise, whereas from a hypertrophy point of view, this is not the optimal approach. Especially with an exercise as exhausting as the leg exercises, a longer break before the next series is appropriate. And unfortunately, you don't need to put gigantic weights on the barbell to grow, but you do need to make sure you're getting close to muscle collapse. And if you train the way Rock does here, you'll build a lot of endurance, but no strength and no muscle. Aside from the fact that they look great on camera, The Rock loves chains, although his muscles would respond better to regular dumbbells. You can complain that the variations might be ineffective, but then again, Johnson knows that most of his fans can't judge his training methods, and the more impressive the exercise, the better. You, on the other hand, fortunately already know that it doesn't work that way. Lately, not only has The Rock stopped liking fitness, but the entire world as well. Among other things, Dwayne Johnson has stumbled across audacious lies about his visits to In-N-Out. For example, he wrote in 2017 that this was his first visit to this restaurant. 2022, he wrote the same thing. And for the third time in 2023, he visited the In-N-Out for the first time. Along the way, he told the amusing story that he had no idea how to order food, but fortunately he learned it quickly. After his deception was pointed out, he quickly added that he had forgotten his previous visits. He also spread false information about the earnings of the film Black Adam, in which he played the lead role. He wrote that the film would bring in between $52 and $72 million. In terms of cinema takings, however, the production made losses of 50 to 100 million. Is that a lie? Possibly, keeping in mind that cinema revenues are not the only way to make money from films. Many people also didn't like his recent interview with Joe Rogan. That's because it seemed like The Rock was terrified of touching on any controversial topics. It has been claimed that the actor sounds like ChatGPT. He throws phrases around and doesn't have a single opinion of his own. In other words, he behaves like a classic politician. And despite his powerful stature, he breaks at the slightest criticism. And finally, history has come full circle with the recent controversy surrounding The Rock's return to WWE. Everything pointed to the two rivals, Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes, fighting for the title. And just when all WWE fans were already rubbing their hands to see this epic duel, Cody Rhodes suddenly said that he was quitting and that he would nominate The Rock for the title match. What's wrong with that? Well, the whole incident happened, coincidentally, just 10 days after The Rock had become a member of the WWE Board of Directors. 28 years had passed, and Johnson was once again going to be pushed to the top of the federation against the will of the fans. This decision was labeled as the most hated move in WWE history, and the video of this incident has the most negative reactions of any recording on the federation's official channel. The overwhelming fan reaction led to Rhodes' decision being reversed and him having to wrestle for the world title, and The Rock was forced to retire. As you can see, Dwayne has caught a lot of criticism. His fans have noticed it, and the actor is losing followers on Instagram for the first time ever. Sometimes he's even labeled Hollywood's fakest celebrity. But somehow I have a feeling that people will soon forget about it, and The Rock will order a burger at In-N-Out again for the first time. But I'm curious about your opinion. What do you think of his character? And is it right to make his life so difficult? That was Steel Shock. See you in the next video.